Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester. We are a congregation that finds truth and inspiration from many spiritual paths, and in community we help each other practice justice, inclusion, and love. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, your hopes, your identity are welcome here. You can find ways to get involved in your order of service or stay up to date on all that's happening here in the church through the weekly e-news. Children are welcome in the sanctuary at any time, and there's also activities for young children following the story and a preschool playroom as well. And everyone can join us after service downstairs for refreshments and conversation in the commons. All are welcome. Each month, our offering goes out the doors of our church to organizations working for justice in the community. For the month of November, we're collecting for the Village Agricultural Cooperative. It's a local nonprofit providing sustainably grown food for folks with limited resources, working at the intersections of environmental stewardship and economic justice. You can join their director, Amanda Nigon Crowley, this Wednesday evening for a fireside chat. She'll be here at the church to talk about their work, how you can get involved, or to learn more about it. So supper's at 5:30, conversation with Amanda from 6:30 to 7, with childcare provided. All are welcome. That's this Wednesday evening. Please join us. And a thank you to the Prairie Band this morning for providing music. So glad you're here. And today we celebrate two small notes, Today we celebrate a group child dedication, which is our formal welcoming of children into the life of the church. This can be done at any age, so if you're inspired or interested or it just catches your attention this morning for your own family, please let me or Melissa know for future dedications as well. And then a final, very technical kind of governance sort of note about membership. Many of you know we have a building vote coming up in January. To be eligible to vote, this information was sent out in the e-news. You must be a current member and have joined at least 60 days prior to the vote. So that means if you want to vote, you need to join by November 24th. So if you have questions about whether you're a member or not, some folks kind of aren't 100% sure of that, maybe after years or coming back to the church to reinstate their membership or whatever. So if you have any questions or have been interested in joining and are interested in doing that in the next week or so, you can reach out to me or Melissa about that as well. After service, especially today for our refreshments, we have some celebratory cake as well to celebrate these young children and this dedication too. So please join us. So I invite you to take a breath. Let us enter our worship this morning with these words from the Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes, our minister in the 1870s. May our faith in humanity and our message of hope and good cheer light our way. It's good to be together. In just a moment, our opening hymn, This Little Light of Mine, will call us back. But before that, I invite you to rise in body or spirit and give a brief hello and greeting to those around you and to those online as well.
So when children are dedicated here, we give them this little child's book of blessing and prayers. And so today's chalice lighting words come from this. For the blessings you've bestowed upon this home and on this family, for all the days we've had together and all the days to come, for the joys and sorrows that bind us ever closer, for the trials we've overcome, and for teaching us that we can do no great things, only small things with great love. We thank you.
So I invite the families with children being dedicated to come up and join me in front here. Come find a spot. Good morning. Good morning. You all got up early this morning, this cold morning, to be here. Friends, this is a day of joyful celebration. In our faith, the ritual of dedication is a time where we formally bless and welcome young souls into our spiritual family. We celebrate that they were born sacred and holy. And we surround them and their families with our love and support and dedicate and promise our encouragement so that they might grow in the ways of compassion, of justice, and love. So first, a question to parents, guardians, loved ones guiding these young souls. Do you promise to encourage your child or your children to be who they are and grow into who they are called to be by the Spirit of love? Do you promise to nurture their searching spirit, their inquisitive mind, and to guide them as they find their own path, to lead them in the ways of relationship with the communities around them and the larger family of all souls? If so, please say, we do. Good. And gathered congregation and those online as well, do you promise your love and support to these children and families, celebrating their presence in the life of this church, and together helping to create a community where they can learn and grow fully welcome as they are and encouraged to spiritual growth, justice, and love? If so, please say, we do. We do. Amen. So I now have invited, and don't worry, the families knew this, I've invited these parents, these guardians, to offer a word of blessing. They're going to share the name of their children or child and then offer a word of blessing. I'm going to start over here and we'll go down the line.
Elin, Daphne, we want you to know that you're loved as you are, and our love will follow you as you continue to change and grow.
Thea and Waldo, we want you to know that you are loved as you are, and our love will follow you as you change and grow.
Eloria, we want you to know that you're loved, and our love will follow you as you change and grow, and we hope all your dreams and hopes come true.
Koa and Isla, we want you to know that we love you very much, and we're very proud of you, and always will be.
So this water in this cup, you see this water in this cup? This water in this cup was gathered from our water communion. Every year, see this water? See this water? We gather it from our water communion, which is a time when this whole congregation brings water from their lives and from their world, and they bring it up here on a special service in September, and they pour water into the big blue bowl. You might remember that or have seen that. And then we take that water and we clean it really, really good. And there's a lot of steam and a lot of bubbles down in the kitchen to get it nice and clean. And then it lives in my office in some special pitchers. And then I bring it out for special things, like when we dedicate children, or if somebody's sick and they need some special love, I bring it to them too. And we pour it on some of our grounds outside. So this water is from all these people. It's from places they've been. It's from their homes. And they brought it to help bring a blessing to you. So I'm going to take a little water. It won't be much, don't worry. Right? Just a little water on my thumb. And I'm going to place it. So you can tell me. You can either put your hand out. I'll put it on your hand. Or I'm going to put it on your forehead. Okay? Just a tiny bit. As we bless you, all right? Yeah, on your hand, I thought so. Daphne, I bless you in the love of the Spirit, your family, this church, and the family of all souls. Elin, I bless you in the love of the Spirit, your family, this church, and the family of all souls. Waldo, I bless you. The love of the Spirit, and your family, and this church, and the family of all souls. Thea, I bless you in the love of the Spirit, your family, this church, and the family of all souls. Yeah. Aloria, I bless you in the love of the Spirit, this church, your family, and the family of all souls. Oh, and Isla, I bless you in the love of the Spirit, your family, this church, and the family of all souls. Like, what are you doing to me? And Koa, I bless you in the love of the Spirit, your family, this church, and the family of all souls. Amen. May we all be blessed in the love of the Spirit, and these families, blessed in the love of this church and the family of all souls. Amen. I invite you to turn to the litany from the congregation so that you speak your blessing to them. It's in your order of service, and it is on the screen as well. So I invite you to join with me as we say together. May you never unlearn your sweet gentleness. May you keep tame that which rages dangerous within us all. May you win no victory that harms yourself or another. May you ask forgiveness openly and grant it often. May you know your teachers all the days of your life. May you give sympathy to all living things, and by your actions lessen the tides of human sorrow. May you offer your gifts to the world in love, adding to the sum of human happiness and singing your heart's own song. May you be held in the embrace of ancestors and know you are a beloved child of earth, of spirit, of God, of love. Amen. Any good ritual ends with a gift bag. So we bless you with love and gifts from this congregation. And as you return to your seats, I'm gonna teach you a song and we'll sing a blessing to them. So amen. Thank you. May you be blessed. Thank you. So I'll sing it through, then we'll sing it through together a couple times. It takes a village to raise our children. It takes a village to raise one child. All together we share the burden. All together we share the joy. Sing with me. It takes a village to raise our children. It takes a village to raise our child. All together we share
Too many things today. There we go. When my kids were little, they would come up with words for things, sometimes based in kind of reality and what they knew, and sometimes just completely like, what again? So one of the words was rewind. And instead of saying rewind, they would say, can you fast forward back? And we knew what they meant, right? I mean, and then there were some things where they'd come to you and say, where's that wood white? Wood white? Styrofoam. Who knew? And then when we'd play Wii, they'd have to change the little thing, the input on the TV to Hemidine 2. Somehow HDMI became Hemidine, which brings to mind the book we're reading today, because I'm wondering, when does this change? When do we just stop calling things what we think they should be called, right? When do we stop with that creative making up of words or things that make sense in our head? So today's story is a big throwback to Dr. Seuss. Oh, the things you can think. You can think up some birds. Yes, that's what you can do. You can think about yellow or think about blue. And you can think about red and you can think about pink. You can think up a horse. Oh, the things you can think. The things you can think up if you only try. If you try, you can think up a guff going by. And you don't have to stop. You think about a schlop, schlop, beautiful schlop with a cherry right on top. You can think about gloves and you can think about snubs. You can think a long time about snubs and their gloves. You can think about Kitty O'Sullivan Krause in her big balloon swimming pool over her house. I mean, who wants one of those? Think of black water and think of white sky. Think up a boat. Think of blues blowing by. You can think about night, a night in Nanoop. The birds are asleep and the 3 moons are oop. You can think about day, a day in Daydock. The water is blue and the words are agok. Think and wonder and think. How much water can 55 elephants drink? You can wonder, how long is the tail of a zong? There are so many thinks that a thinker can think. Would you dare yank a tooth of the rinker fink? Really? Yeah. And what would you do if you met a jaboo? Oh, the thinks you can think. Think of Peter the postman who crosses the ice once every day and on Saturdays twice. Think you can think any think that you wish. Think a racehorse on a ball with a fish. Think of light, think of bright, think of stairs in the night. Think a ship, think up a long trip, go visit the Vipper of Vip. And left, think of left, and think about beft. Why is that beft always go to the left? And why is it that so many things go to the right? You can think about that until Saturday night. Think left and think right and think low and think high. Oh, the things you can think if you just only try. So I challenge you. Think some thinks today in your imagination. As they play the children's benediction, we will meet you over there. All ages of children can come.
Over the last several years, our family has been through several changes. We bought a house, adopted a puppy and a bearded dragon. Derek got a new job, I got a new job, and Jasper started high school. During all of that, there was an even bigger change occurring. Jasper transitioned from being my daughter to being my son. Jasper is lucky to have a community of friends and family, well, the majority, that don't just accept him, but love and empower him to live in his truth. Even so, this was a big change. Jasper was a kid that loved being fancy. There was never an occasion that did not call for a dress, sparkles, and the occasional tiara. Even going to Target required a fully coordinated outfit. He just loved all the stereotypical girl things. So it was hard for people to wrap their head around the fact that Jasper is a boy. Of course, we did a lot of education with family members about the fact that people can express themselves outside the binary, and no one owes to anyone to express themselves in a way that makes others comfortable. But that's a whole other talk I could give. Although those outward-facing changes were occurring, the change I noticed was seeing my kid's spark dim during the several months before he told us. He became more solitary, which can be pretty normal for a kid in middle school, but it was the joy that used to radiate from him that I noticed dimming. And luckily, over the last year, his light has begun to shine again, and I'm so very grateful to have my kid back. A few days ago, we were in the car talking about high school and college, and I mentioned that when I was younger, I was very much a fight the power activist, and everyone very clearly knew my opinions. And Jasper looked over at me and just kind of looked at me for a minute and said, "Mom, you are like the complete opposite of that now." And I paused, and it made me think, did I course correct a little too much? Did the fact that people used to call me very intimidating push me to be quiet? Have I changed in a way that pulled too far from who I believe myself to be at my core? This month's theme of change allows us to ponder changes that we have made in our life. Are they changes that were really hard to make, but ended in a joy that we didn't even know was possible? Are they changes that went maybe a little bit too far and we need to just move the needle back? Or are there changes that we really want to make, but we're just not sure how yet? I plan to keep thinking over this next few weeks about changes in my life, and I hope that you all are able to as well. I mean, who knows how life will change in the next few weeks, months, or years, and I'm not sure the answer, but I'm really excited to find out.
There are Kleenexes strategically placed around sanctuary today. Good morning. It is good to be with you. I invite you to settle in here as we create a place of communal caring and connection. It's our time to pause amidst the busyness of our lives, to slow down enough to consider the beauty that is here all around us, and to open a space for listening and love. Here, we honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We send gratitude to Ann Lean, serving as our caring coordinator, arranging care for our members and friends in need for the last week. Maggie O'Connell-Nolte will take over tomorrow for the next week, and we thank her for that. The members of our caring committee are wonderful examples of our compassionate community, holding us up as we go through challenging and happy times. And life can be challenging. We could all use some extra support with what life throws at us. And if you are experiencing those challenges in your life, we encourage you to reach out for support and help. If you need additional care, whether it be personal pastoral care or other assistance, please reach out to Reverend Luke or myself with that request. In this community, we share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because all people here have value. Each person's experience matters. We lift up those who are experiencing sadness, illness, or loneliness. May the strength and love in our congregation help guide you. We revel in those who are experiencing joys in their lives. May their happiness lift us all, and may their joy filter into all around them. May all of us find love, hope, joy, and healing strength in our community. Sarah and Amy Monson are grieving the losses of several dear ones in their lives. Sarah's godmother, Patricia Hendricks, passed away on October 19th. Amy's mother, Jan Monson, died on October 26th. And Sarah's other mother, Mickey Prince, died on November 2nd. As they felt the pain of losing these loved ones, they felt extreme joy as they welcomed their second grandson, Emmett Arlen Rodney, born on October 24th. As they cope with the ebbs and flows of life, we hold them tight in our hearts and welcome this new life to the world. Here, our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith is our focus. Let us carry that into the wider world. May the faith in the spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come.
I invite you to take a deep breath. Breathe deep the breath of life. Feel below you the earth and its ancient turning. Above you the sky, and beyond that the stars shining with their ancient light, holding you in this moment, this place. You yourself made of earth and stars. Know that in this house you are named, you are known as beloved, as sacred. I invite you into this time of meditation, this time of prayer, first by sharing silence together. Spirit of life, source of compassion, God of love and of many names beyond all naming. In this week of continued results around the country, help us remember there are always results coming in, each day about who seems to be winning or losing, about who is getting ahead or behind. And it's always not quite what we expect. It's not always clear, and the impact is always significant. Help us remember the ways we are each called to help take whatever the day brings, whatever news comes our way, whatever results come to our mind, whatever outcomes we feel little control over. Yet it is ours to continue to move the arc of the universe toward more justice and love, to continue to serve our communities with compassion, to continue to vote with our lives each day until every soul feels heard and known and cared for, and that they belong. In this sacred hour, we hold joy and sorrow woven fine, our own and others, some spoken, some silent. I invite you to bring the names you're holding in your own heart this day in joy or sorrow, celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now in this time to speak their names. For all those joys and sorrows, named and unnamed, may we all be held in love and grace. These words of meditation are from Liesl Mueller. The odds against us are endless. Our chances of being alive together statistically non-existent. Still we have made it. Alive. With our lively children who, but for endless ifs, might have missed out on this too. Together with marvels and follies and longings and lies and wishes and error and humor and mercy and journeys and voices and faces and colors and summers and mornings and knowledge and tears and chance. May it be so. Amen.
Yesterday a child went out to wander, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. Seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in a circle. Skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like, when you're older, must appease him, and promises of someday make his dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in a circle game. 16 springs, 16 summers gone now. Then the cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town, and they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet and his dreams have lost some grandeur coming true. There'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams, and plenty before the next revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in a circle game. And go round and round and round in a circle game.
The first reading is Generation to Generation by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. That's the hardest part of the whole thing. In a house which becomes a home, one hands down and another takes up the heritage of mind and heart, laughter and tears, musings and deeds. Love, like a carefully loaded ship, crosses the gulf between generations. Therefore, we do not neglect the ceremonies of our passage. When we wed, when we die, and when we are blessed with a child, when we depart and when we return, when we plant and when we harvest. Let us bring up our children. It is not the place of some official hand to tell them their heritage. If others impart to our children our knowledge and ideals, they will lose all of us that is wordless and full of wonder. Let us build memories in our children, lest they drag out joyless lives, lest they allow treasures to be lost because they have not been given the keys. We live not by things, but by the meaning of things. It is needful to transmit the passwords from generation to generation. The second reading is Mindful by Mary Oliver. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It is what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made out of grass. And we'll now receive the offering.
I wrote this song, gosh, it's been 30 years. How did that happen? My son was going off to kindergarten. He was 6, and my daughter was 2. And we had one of those glass storm doors, and she was just standing there watching him get on the bus, wishing it was her turn. I'm going to Australia to see her for Thanksgiving. She continued to look out the door and see her in the future. Really, the song is about how we teach our kids many things, right? But they do it on their own. It's called Teach Them to Stand. Babies stand on the floor with their nose at the door, looking out at the world going past. Parents watch and they know all too soon they'll be grown, as the circle of life goes so fast. From the time they are little, we teach them to stand on their job to be sure they grow up in love, knowing all of the gifts they're given. And as they grow, it is pride parents feel down inside, though the lonely days also will come. But if love is done well, they will prosper and tell the whole world as they stand on their own. From the time they are little, we teach them to stand on their own 2 feet. They run. It's a job to be sure they grow up in love, knowing all of the gifts they're given. So when the day finally dawns and they leave on their own with their suitcase and laptops in tow, we will smile as we sigh and we'll cry one last time, knowing all of the children must go. But there's no easy way to be sure every day that the ways that we choose are the best. We live life each day looking forward to say our love for you stood all the test. From the time they are little, we teach them to stand on their own 2 feet. They run. It's a job to be sure they grow up in love, knowing all of the gifts they're given.
Thank you, Jane and band. Beautiful. Wow was the word that I heard from the back seat, as the sky through the transparent border of the windshield was as if it had been painted by skilled artists, this beautiful stretching of the horizon, a dance of blended shades and colors and clouds, and after a brief string of words simply meaning, wow, wow, look. The next sentence was something like, if I saw this somewhere on a screen, I would have assumed it was altered, changed, digitally created. This can't be real. Some of you may have experienced this too at many times in your life, or just a week or so ago if you were in or around Rochester. The evening sky of Rochester at dusk was when this word of wow came. Like ripples in the sky of pinks and oranges and other colors that could barely be described, much less held in even the impressive 124 pack of crayons. It was even more than that. A natural wonder in every sense of the word. Wow. This word we use for so many things at different levels, sometimes a modern interpretation of the word awe, A-W-E, which I love that the Old Norse Scandinavian source for this word means fright or terror, awe. Apparently my people are terrified of beautiful things, which probably good. Years ago, there was a scholar and a storyteller was sharing about the psychology of experiences of awe, of wonder, and shared this idea that has stuck with me ever since. He said, we mostly begin our lives struggling and forming together some string of sounds simply to utter our response to the world around us, to try to share the experience of being alive in wordless ways. We try to put some description to what we feel. And over time, we develop various forms of language, speech, singing, others, ways to express with a plethora, a growing encyclopedic amount of words about our reactions and experiences to the world. He said, we take all that time, expend all that work trying in ever-widening ways to express what it means to be human, alive, and if we're honest, he said, perhaps the whole time, all we're trying to do is get back to the first sounds we uttered of awe, of wow, our first expressions and response to the beauty of the world that is wordless, an experience that can't quite be described. So in short, this beautiful teaching just comes down to we start our lives and then work our whole lives trying to get back to the experience of not being able to describe how beautiful the world is. It's sometimes how we respond to young souls around us or in front of us. Awe, A-W-W, right? That cuteness factor that's probably built into our communal survival. Keeping young ones safe and alive is hard, so it helps if they're super cute to help them survive. But I wonder sometimes, too, that at times we'd love to shake off some of those social expectations that have been added onto us over the years, those layers of decorum placed on us over time. Sometimes we too want to shove our face with cake on our birthday, or we too want to get on the floor and crawl around, or maybe just play with toys or color or read books. And the elementary librarian in my home would remind us children's books and play are good for everybody, not just children. May you never unlearn your sweet gentleness, we said to these children today. Maybe we're really saying it to ourselves just as much. All these blessings meant for young souls. Maybe that monthly theme of change is just about marking these thresholds in our lives, as the poet writes, these moments of major life transition, rites of passage, of birth, death, partnership, among others. Maybe change is not only about how we change and grow over time, and how things change from generation to generation, but just as much about how we might change our expectations of what it means to be grown in the world, about how we might change our ways of being, our assumptions of acting or doing, not to diminish the gifts of growth and wisdom that come with age, but to honor the inner wisdom, the inner wonder that has been with us all along. That it's for our well-being to be able to attend to our own callings of justice and compassion and service with a sense of wonder and beauty and playfulness, if we let our own soul practice joy. So maybe the crayons in the activity bags around the church, even if you can't really capture the total beauty of the sky, maybe those bags are just as much for 80-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 8-month-olds. Maybe the most important thing we can do as communities of faith and love and justice is not only to protect but to embody the playful wisdom of the young that lives within each of us. Love, like a carefully loaded ship, crosses the gulf between the generations, writes the poet. If others impart to our children our knowledge and ideals, they will lose all of us that is wordless and full of wonder. We live not by things, but by the meaning of things. Passwords from generation to generation, they write, just might be wordless, I think. So I invite you to think, what are the places or the moments, the experiences in your own life where you have found yourself at a loss of words, said the preacher, droning on forever, encyclopedic amounts of words. But when are those moments for you of profound silence, of the soul, of the heart, when you're stopped in your tracks by beauty? And the words stop too, because they can't hold what you're experiencing, because somewhere deep down you know it can't be expressed. What are those moments? Sometimes we're beyond words because of deep grief, not just joy. Not sure what to say or do. Sometimes we're at a loss of words because we're overcome by the beauty of music or nature or the feeling of gratitude or love or belonging. or we're just caught in the experience of something fun. For me, maybe you don't feel the same this week, but I was remembering my wonder every year at the first snowfall of the season, looking out the window. I can remember silently watching out the window of my classroom at Monroe Elementary, looking at what Unitarian Ralph Waldo Emerson said of the First Parish in Concord Mass, that the best sermon ever preached was the falling snow outside the window. A little offensive to preachers, but fair enough. Or it's like in these words from Mary Oliver, "It's what I was born for, to look and to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and in acclamation." Love that phrase, to instruct myself over and over again in joy and acclamation. So who are your joy instructors? There was a great plethora of them here. Who are those folks in your lives, those souls, those spirits that invite you to consider changing routines or habits, that invite you into joy and gratitude and play? Maybe you are a joy instructor too. Certainly we have inner wisdom guiding us, but who else in your world is helping instruct you in joy? It's like a young child just this Wednesday night at the supper downstairs here who slid past me in a red chair, sliding across the floor. She said, Luke, this is my red boat to lemonade instead of blue boat home. It's like, you were paying attention at Chalice Camp, weren't you? So whether it's a red boat to lemonade or something else, the invitation is to slow down and pause. Whether stopped in your tracks by beauty or the blessings of the sky or some joyful spirit showing you it's good to play, to imagine, slowing down is good for the soul. It's good for your general health too, right? We know from ancient spiritual practices and modern medicine, or as a doctor was speaking on the radio just this week, there is a breathing rhythm that helps not only with sleep, that was their topic, but it helps lower your blood pressure, helps your stress responses, and more when we say breathe deep the breath of life each week, to pause, to center down. It's not just to be quiet, but it's an ancient and modern invitation to make space in your life, to attend to the health of your soul, to notice the present moment, and maybe to make space for invitations to joy, to acclamation, to play. Make space for the joy and sorrow that's still already there. I like the idea of joy instructors, and I know I need them, helping me change constantly from the demands of a world that frenetically calls for your attention, a world that often deflects joy and play and beauty with the oversaturation of greed or judgment of self or others. Maybe from the young souls around us, we might reawaken something that has always lived within us. Maybe we have to ask our own soul, can you come out and play? The hymn is We Are Dancing Sarah's Circle. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing. as you're comfortable, place a hand on your heart or toward the sky or the earth in gratitude, and breathe deep the breath of life. Go yonder, and gather the people. Give them not hell, but courage and hope. Give them something of the love you have found here, and tell all the people that love is our home. Amen.
Wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you better start swimming, or you'll sink to a stone, for the times they are a-changing. Come, senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway or block up the hall, for the we that gets hurt is the first one to stall. The battle outside is raging, and you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changing. Come, mothers and fathers throughout all the land, and don't criticize what you don't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. The old road is rapidly changing, so get out the old way. You can't lend a hand, for the times they are a-changing.
It's time for cake now.